We're back. Stevie, we're back. This is 67 Hail Hail Live, and we're here to chat about Celtic and the Champions League draw, maybe a little bit of transfers along the way, a little bit about the channel too. Now, as you're all well aware, we've not been on the channel live or otherwise for quite a while. We've not been doing as many videos as we usually do. I will talk a bit about that towards the end of the video. But as always at 67 Hail Hail, Stevie, we always put Celtic before ourselves. It's never about us. It's always about Celtic. And in that spirit, there's enough news and enough goings on that we should just dive into talking about Celtic and what is a pretty tasty Champions League draw. Stevie, what's your reaction to the draw, which I will say, sorry to forget, that was Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid and Lazio. That's who we've drawn in the UEFA Champions League. Stevie, how are you feeling about it?
All right, I thought you were on here to ask me about my summer. I thought that's what the entire thing was all about. Yeah, look, last season, you remember myself and Hamish. I don't know if anyone remembers Hamish, but me and him went to Celtic Park and we did the reaction right after the draw. And I remember then we got Leipzig, Shakhtar and Real Madrid. I remember saying it was a combination of glamour ties, but also winnable games. And we know how that panned out. It's not that I was underestimating other teams like Shakhtar and Leipzig. I just was maybe talking up or thinking, overestimating and just Celtic too much, John. And in the end, what happened there, we get 2 points. So getting into this one, I'd like to think, we've avoided some horror shows there. And we have. Can you imagine we got that one what Newcastle got? That was what Group D, I think that was it? Was it PSG, Dortmund, Milan and Newcastle? If we were in something like that, or if we were in with like Man City, Leipzig again, or even Barcelona and Porto, I wouldn't have fancied that. And I'm not coming on here to say, yeah, I fancy us to win all that. The way I'm seeing it is I'm just getting into this one with low expectations. If we can, sad as it says, John, if we can just get a win, that's a start. And I don't, people might say that's been too pessimistic or I'm too down in Celtic, but it's the truth. Look where we are. We're in pot 4. We are at the bottom of the pile. And that's not putting my foot down in Celtic or that. It's just the fact is, if you look at what we spent compared to teams like Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid and Lazio over the summer, Feyenoord has spent pretty much close to 60 million preparing for this Champions League assault. Atletico Madrid spent the best part of 40. And even Lazio, who started Serie A fairly poorly, spent close to 40 as well, John. Nowhere near it for us. But that's what we've got to compete against. And that's why I do think we'll be lucky, to get a win and build on it for there.
I agree. I mean, we're coming into it as pot 4 team. So that immediately obviously puts us at a bit of a disadvantage. There's always going to be, this is the best and brightest of European football. There's always richer teams than us. There's always better teams than us. And so it's always difficult. So it's never an easy draw. But my viewpoint on this is if you can avoid the super, super rich, the super elite, I'm talking your Man Cities, your Paris Saint-Germains, your Real Madrids, if you can somehow avoid them, then you're doing all right from a beginning standpoint. It doesn't feel completely impossible. Now, that's not to say that I think Celtic are going to romp this group or anything like that. But we have a point to prove in this competition. And I think this group, compared to some of the others out there, and you see there is some horror groups of death, as if you will, out there. If you look at some of the other groups out there, I think we've done well to avoid some of that. So obviously it's not an easy group, but I think it's a pretty tasty draw, a draw that we can look forward to and hope, at least have hope that we can be somehow competitive in some degree, whether that's competing for the top 2 positions or competing for that 3rd position, which, let's be honest, is probably more realistic at this stage. For me, I always look at, you always want a little bit of narratives and stories running through the group, and I think we've kind of got that in that there's a little bit for the history buffs. Obviously, Feyenoord, we played in the 1970 European Cup final, lost out on that. We obviously have a bit of recent history against Lazio, beating them home and away just a few years ago. And then obviously Celtic and Atletico Madrid have like a long storied history stretching back to the 70s as well. So there's a bit of everything there, and I think that will, aid the kind of excitement and people getting up for it and really getting stuck into it. So I was quite pleased with that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing to go for, isn't it? The target is 3rd place. I would agree with that, John. And again, look, although I'm again, I don't want to mean that I'm talking down, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the games against Feyenoord will be an incredible atmosphere. I'm looking forward to the Atletico Madrid games as well, because remember when we played them in the Europa League, it was a weird one. We got there after magically and heroically beating Sion, of course. We did triumph against them, never forget. And it was a weird one, because I think the game against them at Celtic Park, talking like one of the big dogs in La Liga, and the game against them at Celtic Park was like, I think 30-odd thousand there. And we were no bad against them if it wasn't for Beram Kaya ducking for a shot. I think it was Turan it scored. And of course, we remember the atmosphere in the games against Lazio as well. So you're right, there's history against these teams, John, and they will be good games. And I think the nature of all the three teams that we're playing is, certainly two of them anyway, are just all-out attacking teams that will be coming to Celtic Park to actually, have a go at us. I'm not saying Atletico Madrid won't, but I think they'll be a wee bit more conservative in their approach. But you know what I'm getting at.
No, I do. Just for completion's sake, if anyone missed the draw, I'll just briefly run through some of the other groups. You had Bayern Munich and Man United in against Copenhagen and Galatasaray, Sevilla and Arsenal against PSV Eindhoven and Lens of France, Napoli and Real Madrid against Braga and Union Berlin, Benfica and Inter Milan up against Red Bull Salzburg and Real Sociedad. Then obviously it was us in Group E, Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid, Lazio and Celtic. Group F seems to be the one that everyone's designated in the group of death this year, which is Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, Milan, and Newcastle United from pot 4. I think everyone wanted to avoid Newcastle from pot 4. Group G was Manchester City, RB Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade, and Young Boys. And finally, Group H, which I thought we were destined in, given that we seem to draw the same teams all the time in this competition, which was Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Antwerp. So good set of fixtures, good set of groups, and I do think that we kind of, if you're looking at the top two or three groups we could have got, I do think that that's what we've kind of landed in, and it gives us a chance. But like you said, there's just so much work to do, because it's been an odd summer of ups and downs and kind of narratives and stories and setbacks and positivity and then more setbacks. And I agree with you. It's like Celtic have everything to prove here. I mean, there's no room for complacency or any of that nonsense. We need to get domestic results right, never mind our European ones. And obviously that starts this weekend. How are you feeling about Celtic generally right now? How are you feeling about the transfer window, the kind of the last few days of this transfer window? How is it all shaping out for you over the summer and into this week?
Can't lie, I've been very underwhelmed, and even this week when I've seen the business conducted, like I've not been shouting for the rooftops and saying brilliant. Yeah, I'm relieved that we're getting more bodies in, because we badly needed it, but we knew that as fans weeks ago, and we said, the first thing it was tagged when Brendan came back was let's get to work, but evidently there was absolutely nothing done. Certainly to us as fans, we weren't seeing anything, and now we're all just seeing all this mad scrambling about in the last week. I know it's all right to say typical Celtic, but you get bored of it, John. You get tired of it, and when you see other clubs, conducting their business far earlier, and then Celtic always just at the last minute scrambling about, you become sick of it. It becomes to the point where it's no longer a drama anymore, and you're used to it or that. It is just tiresome. It really is. So I can't say I've been happy about what's went on this summer. I think we haven't put ourselves in the best possible position to start the season. Against Ross County, you saw the deficiencies in that squad. That could have been addressed far sooner. Well, now, excuse me, at the point where I said at the start of the season, I would say the goalkeeper was a massive priority for us. Obviously improving as a club, but also trying to improve in the Champions League. We're now at the stage where after the last few displays, I now don't think goalkeepers are a priority, and that is glaring. That's a bad one for me, for the fact that was the one problem area, and now under Brendan, as the weeks have progressed since that Ross County game, you're starting to see, John, that there's actually way more we've got to sort out, and it could have just been done a lot sooner. So yeah, I understand we've got the boy in for Liverpool until January on loan, and we've got Palman, and I believe there's that Portuguese lad's coming in on loan as well.
Bernardo is his name, Paulo Bernardo.
Thank you for giving me a name there, John. But yeah, as I say, look, I'm not going to just write off these guys. They'll get a chance and they'll get a chance to prove themselves. I think that's what certainly we as fans want. But just this summer in general, just for the way Brendan came in was all very low key. It was glaringly obvious we needed new players, John. We needed upgrades to make that treble winning team even better this season, especially for preparing this Champions League sort of assault. And it's been poor. It's not been great, but we're just going to have to draw a line under it. And then when it comes to Sunday, no more negativity. Just get behind the team, and hopefully from then onwards, we'll see a bit of positivity this season.
I mean, the next few days, it does feel like it can turn around just in the general fan feeling. For me, it's like a few issues, isn't it? It's like there's a little bit of hangover from Ange last season. There's a little bit of trepidation about Brendan and what he's up to, just with the nature of everything, and certainly a section of the fans not won over by him at all. Then we had the slow transfers, and at the start of the window, and you're thinking there's quite a lot of time left. We don't need to worry. Then the weeks tick by, and you're thinking, is it time to worry yet? And then suddenly we're in the last week. Then a genuinely unlucky blow of multiple injuries in the same position, which I really felt has been a bit of a disaster, basically, that leaves Celtic looking for another transfer, which we've seen today in Nat Phillips from Liverpool. So that wasn't ideal. And then that kind of element of, selling Jota and Starfelt and then not really replacing them to the extent that fans would wish, or at least not yet, which brings us into the last couple of days of the window. And like you're saying, we've signed Luis Palma from Aris in Greece. We've signed Nat Phillips from Liverpool. Looks like we're signing Paulo Bernardo from Benfica, who's doing a medical, I think, or has been doing a medical today. He's in the country, and that's looking to be finalised. And then you're going into the last day and thinking, can we pull out 2 or 3 on the last day and kind of start to turn things around? Can we then go to Ibrox and pick up a really positive result there, or at least escape without, taking a negative result, which I think would probably be a bonus for a lot of fans at this very point in time. And then suddenly you're into the international break. After the international break, everyone's feeling good about the Champions League, full of hope. New players are in, yet to see them play, and it all just kind of shifts. That's how quickly things can change in football, Stevie. So, my view on it is I understand why people are feeling a little bit down at the moment, but I'm just trying to look forward to seeing how it turns, when it turns, and how quickly it turns. And I think things turn in Glasgow so quickly and at Celtic so quickly, and I think there's a chance that we see that turn around the corner, hopefully over the next few days, but certainly over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's really important, John, that we go into that international break on the back of a positive result, because you see that the wonders that can do for the season ahead. I'm always thinking back to that first season under Ange, getting into the international break when we won at Aberdeen, that one at Pittodrie. I think we've been on about it on here loads, certainly myself and Hamish too. And then the manager was able to start working with players who weren't away, improving them. So you're hoping, that can be the same thing here. It's not a case of just time off and a break for some of this team who aren't going away on international duty, that they can actually work with a manager and actually improve, fit in more with his system. So hopefully we get a positive result at Ibrox. Going into that international break, we've got players there who aren't in international duty, but in improving, they're looking to integrate as part of that system. And it can only benefit the rest of the team for the season ahead. As I say, we saw it a couple of seasons ago, and the wonders that it did for us then. So that's what I'm sort of clinging on to. But at the same time, I shouldn't be doing that. We should be in a far better position where we're not just having blind sort of faith in these things. It really should be far more stabilised at Celtic. But that is what it is now, John. That is what I'm, as I say, clinging on to at least.
What's your gut feeling then on this group? Just going back to the draw itself. Feyenoord, Eredivisie champions, Atletico Madrid, 3rd place in La Liga last season, I think. Lazio distant second behind Napoli in Serie A. Pretty good draw. Are you feeling our 3rd place finish here? Are you feeling it, is what I'm saying. What's your gut feeling on it?
Well, if Lazio keep going the way they are now, then there's every chance, John, because I know they've lost their last couple of games, and there's been grumblings in Rome. But we know what it's like. Yeah, I have.
You got your men on the ground in Rome feeding you up-to-date info.
Just get my pure Keith Jackson cliches right out the way there. Italian giants. But I remember saying all this last season, thinking, we've got a good chance of 3rd. Shakhtar were murder I always we could have got to them, and then remember Leipzig were going through a terrible time. So it's just, I bet what happens is, like, Lazio will be in horrific form. By the time they come to play us, they'll sack their manager. They'll get like a new experienced manager in, and all of a sudden they'll play the best football against us and probably cuff us or something. But like, I think third place is exactly what we've got to really be aiming for. So, do I think it's possible? Yeah, I think it could be, John, but it's going to be a very big ask. Look at the squad we've got, and we are by far the weakest in there. We're a top 4 team for a reason, and we've not done ourselves any justice in the summer. Gut feeling tells me if we get a bit of luck and other teams don't turn up against us or underestimate us, and we have everything going away, then possibly. But I think it's a big ask. I really do. I genuinely do. What do you think?
I mean, I always go into these. I went into the last Champions League group stage last year thinking that we could get third and hoping we could get third, and obviously didn't quite go to plan. So while not making any predictions, I do have hope that we can take a wee jump up and get that third place spot. I think parachuting into the Europa League is probably the best we can expect, to be quite honest, given the current worries that you see on the park and a bit of kind of sluggishness off the park as well. But then we just need to wait and see. I'm going to bring in a couple of comments now. I'm going to try and sidestep as many as I can about my hair tonight, which seems to be causing quite a stir in this chat. Just to clarify, I've not died or anything. I've not had a terrible 3 months. I've been grey since I was about 18, and this just seems to be more apparent this evening because I'm not waving it back as I usually do. But that is my tough luck. So I'll sidestep some of the hair comments. Fitzy Boy says, fantastic to see you back, guys. Scotty Boy's going second or third as possible if we kick it into gear. Michael Ross is actually taking a different view from us. He actually thinks it's a hell of a tough group. And the Scotty Boy's got the complete opposite. He thinks it's the easiest group we could have got. Bobby Sutherland saying third would be a great achievement. I actually think third would be an achievement. And so hopefully people keep that in mind. That's the kind of feeling out there. It's kind of a mixed bag, of course, as always. On the channel itself, we'll just move quickly into that. We'll sidestep Celtic for a moment and just say, obviously, we know that we've not had many videos. We did kind of try to put up a community post on the community tab of the YouTube channel that a lot of people seen, but a lot more people didn't see, and we just keep getting questions. And first of all, I need to thank you for all the questions and the interest. It's genuinely humbling to hear so many people are interested to hear what's going on with the channel. First of all, I just want to clarify that you're not annoying us by asking us or sending us emails or sending us tweets or whatever. We can't reply to all of them, unfortunately, just because there's a lot and we don't really know, apart from the community post on the tab, we're not sure quite what the status of this is. At this moment, it's kind of looking unlikely that we're going to get back to daily videos. But we are hoping to get back a proper schedule of videos with Hamish. Hamish isn't gone. I know he's moved to Australia, but he's not disappeared completely from the channel. He's still going to be around. So you will be seeing more of Hamish. He's just not on tonight because this is like literally the middle of the night for him. So in terms of like an evening live show, that's probably not going to be possible. But he is going to be around. We are going to try and get out 1 or 2 videos a week moving forward and see how it gets on from there. The reason why there's been none over the last while is like Hamish has actually been planning and been in the process of moving countries from Scotland to Australia, which, as you can imagine, is quite a process in itself. And obviously he's had other work commitments, etc. as well. So that's all been going on in the background. We have been going on the website. I know the website's not for everyone. I know a lot of people prefer the channel, but that's the state of play at the moment. And as I say, we hope to get back to maybe 1 or 2 videos a week moving forward and just stay in touch, and so you can keep in touch with us and hear our thoughts and enjoy our shows. And we always enjoy the feedback from the community and all the discussion that goes on in the live chat and in the comments. And hopefully we can get back to some sort of normality that's normal moving forward. As I say, I don't think we're going to get back to what Hamish was doing on a daily basis, which was exceptional work. But I just don't know if we're going to get back there. So we'll see how it all pans out. But the season is ahead of us, Stevie. The season is our oyster. We've got a lot to look forward to if Celtic get their act together over the next few weeks and months.
Well, that's a if. It's a big if right now, but the way they've started this season, John, can't get any worse. Well, actually, probably could if we get Gildon Sunday, but I don't even know I don't even know what I think about that one yet. I really don't, especially after seeing Rangers last night. Rather focus on us, and so hopefully we've got a couple more bodies in tomorrow. Then we can probably sort of analyse that one and see how it's going. But right now, I just can't call it. I just can't. But I don't think it's going to. What we've seen in the last sort of few weeks, it's not going to be that way for the rest of the season. What I would say at Celtic Park on Saturday, though, was it was the biggest disconnect I've seen between the players and the fans in quite some time, and I think that might be the worst it gets. Because it's not going to be that way for the rest of the season. So I'm hoping that we've got this bad patch out of the way, John, and we can kick on for Sunday. But aye, it's a really big day for the club tomorrow, and they owe it to the fans, definitely, to get a few more bodies in and improve that team.
I agree with that. I mean, I'm not quite as pessimistic as yourself and maybe others, but at the same time, I understand the concerns and I can see the alarm bells, and I get that disconnect thing, and that's probably a little bit worrying in itself. And I think that's why everything just needs to shift a little bit. But as you say, as we've said at the start of the show and said throughout, it's on the club to prove that. It's on the club to prove it in transfers. It's on the club to prove it in consistency of domestic results. It's on the club to prove it in the Champions League. And the fans will support them, so the team will have that support. But it's just about finding that common ground again, and hopefully we can all do that over the coming days and weeks. That's going to be us for now. We'll be back soon. I can't give you a definitive day or anything, but we'll be back sooner than we've been away for over the last couple of months. So you can count on us to come back and keep you up to date with everything Celtic. As you say, we're on 67hailhail.com as well if you want to catch up with us there. But for now, Stevie, I'll say goodbye. Thanks for joining me tonight. Perfect. Thanks for everyone in the chat for joining us. Thanks everyone in the comments for joining us, even if they are going to be giving me a slagging this evening. I can take it. You can go for it. I'm fine with it. And we'll be back next time. And we'll be.
I'm not fine with it, by the way. So just not slagging me. Seen people tell me to cheer up and all that. I'm actually fine. I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good.
This is my resting. This is my resting face. Don't worry about that.
Listen, supporting Celtic's it's an up and down thing sometimes, and we've had way more ups and downs over the last few years. So I think we can deal with a wee bump in the road and move on in a constructive fashion. Thanks to everyone in the chat, as I said. Thanks to everyone in the comments below. Please do let us know what you think of the group stage draw, what you want from the channel, if we're kind of reducing the number of videos. As I say, Hamish will be back at some point as well, and you can catch up with him and everyone will feel a little bit better. But for now, that's us. Goodbye.